Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. And this is your horoscope for the full moon in Libra coming up on April 16th, 2022, along with the sun that'll be shifting over into the sign of Aries here on the 13th. This is a very magical full moon that we are stepping into here, as this will fall in the nakshatra of Chitra, right at the beginning of Libra, where we're also going to see K2 that has finally made its way over into Libra as well. And so this moon is going to come into a very powerful conjunction here with K2. And of course, this is not a close conjunction, as K2 has just entered into the back end of Libra, but still having a very powerful effect here with the eclipsing. So this is a huge moment here, as we're seeing this full moon first time here in the same sign as our node. We got two cards that came up for this full moon. We have Uranus and we have the first house. So this is a huge time of starting something brand new with your life, of this huge moment of shedding, of purging, in order to step into a new creation, a new path. This is a huge spark, a huge transformation moment as we are stepping into this full moon. So let's go ahead and pull up the chart and take a look at this transit. So up on the screen is the transit for this full moon and sun that is shifting here into the sign of Aries. Starting off here, the sun is going to shift into Aries, and the sun gets exalted in the sign of Aries, especially in the first 10 degrees here in the nakshatra of Ashwini. And so there's definitely a lot of energy and willpower that is increasing as the sun is entering into Ashwini. This is a huge moment of determination and willpower increasing as the sun comes into its exaltation. This is a great moment for new beginnings, for starting fresh, for starting on a new path. The sun is also going to shift ahead into the next nakshatra of Bharani, and as the energies shift ahead into Bharani, this is especially going to be a moment of tapping into your creativity, of using any sort of skills and talents you have to move towards your goals. And it is also a huge moment of transformation, of releasing, letting go of what no longer serves you. Towards the end of this transit of the sun in Aries, we will see the sun enter into Kritika. And Kritika is also a huge nakshatra for shedding, removing of what no longer serves you. This Kritika nakshatra is also a huge area where you can see a lot of strength, of dominance that is increasing as well. This is going to shift ahead into Taurus, so we'll see the sun continue in the Kritika nakshatra as it moves ahead into Taurus, but especially in the Aries portion, there's going to be a lot of strength, a lot of determination that is in that Kritika nakshatra. Now also, as the sun is entering into Kritika, it will become closer to this Rahu that is placed in Kritika as well. So as the sun comes closer to Rahu, we're going to see Rahu begin to eclipse, to overshadow this sun even more. And anytime that the Rahu is going to eclipse the sun, it's actually going to increase the qualities of the sun. It is going to amplify this. And so this is especially a time to watch out for selfishness, to watch out for unnecessary arguments and ego battles popping up, as the sun is all about our individuality, our soul, our willpower. And as Rahu comes in here, this can cause a lot of false ego and a lot of over-dominance, a lot of over-controlling and overpowering in our relationship. So we want to be very cautious about this Rahu sun. As the sun also is transiting through the middle of Aries in Bharani, it will come into a conjunction with Uranus for those who are following those extra planets. So that also can bring about a lot of unexpected situations, abrupt beginnings and changes with the Sun Uranus. So a lot that is going on with this Sun transit, where we're going to see unexpected beginnings and changes, very explosive energy happening as the Sun is coming through the sign of Aries. Now also, as the Sun comes into the sign of Aries, it will receive an aspect over from the Moon. This is creating our full moon here, our pink moon, and this will be taking place in Libra at the very beginning in this Chitra nakshatra. Now Chitra is split between Virgo and Libra. But especially on this Libra side, this becomes about beauty, design, building, creating things. And we also see the Libra aspects of leadership coming through as the moon is stepping into Chitra. Chitra is a star that is all about design, beauty, creation. It is referred to as being the brilliant one, meaning that it is shining bright. So there is a shining, a beautiful, a brilliant aspect to this beginning part of Libra. And this is called the star of opportunity. So this is all about taking on new opportunities, building, creating, designing, bringing things into existence, building these castles in the sky, bringing your ideas into reality. So Chitra is, once again, all about the beauty. It is all about the creation. But Chitra is hiding a great secret underneath this beauty. There is a lot of intelligence and intuition, along with a great deal of wisdom and willpower that is behind this creation. And so this is actually a very intense nakshatra that is displaying a lot of softer attributes on the surface. There's a lot of mystery and depth to this nakshatra of Chitra. And so this is already bringing up aspects of illusion. And so this is something that we want to be careful of, is, are we just looking at something that looks shiny, that looks appealing at the surface, and not seeing all of it, not seeing the true depths of it? This moon also, once again, is going to come into a conjunction, very wide conjunction with Ketu, but still Ketu is having a huge effect as it is going to overshadow or eclipse this moon. And so Ketu is going to do the opposite of what Rahu does. Ketu is going to take away the good significations of the moon. And so this especially can create some dissonance, some detachment as the moon comes into this conjunction with Ketu. This can be a huge time of detaching from reality and going into a very imaginative, intuitive space. And so you want to be careful about any sort of negotiations, deals, contracts that you're trying to make under this full moon. We can, again, have this aspect of Chitra that is very glamorous, that is very glittery at the surface, which is causing this illusionary effect. And we have Ketu, which is detaching or pulling us away from the reality of what we are experiencing in the real world. And so this can create a lot of distance, a lot of detachment in your connections also, especially as we're here in Libra, which is dealing with relationships and partnership. You want to be careful of any sort of arguments, disagreements, things that are popping up in your connections with this detached nature, with this moon. There's a lot that is not based in reality. There's a lot of not seeing things clearly or completely disconnecting from feeling altogether. This Ketu definitely is going to give a ton of passion and willpower. And so this is an excellent time to focus on your goals, to focus on moving forward in anything that you have set out to do. The full moon, of course, is a time of endings and completion. So you can see a lot of your work actually coming to a completion or showing you some indication that you're getting very close to completing or wrapping things up in this area. And especially because it's in the sign of Libra and in this Chitra nakshatra that is all about the creation, the design, the building of putting things together, of this leadership aspect, as Chitra is a Mars controlled nakshatra. Mars being the master builder, and this Chitra nakshatra being the display of Mars's ability to build and put things together. So this is definitely a time where you can see closures that are related to business, related to your projects, to what you are working on, especially for those of you who are entrepreneurs, who are working individually, who are given the freedom to build, to create, to design, to put things together. There's something big here about bringing things to a creation, bringing things to a completion, fulfilling this task that you have set out to do. And once again, this is making way for something new to come in, as we have the sun on the opposite end here in Ashwini, which this is the very beginning of the zodiac, where things are starting all of a sudden, this spontaneous beginning of starting a project, of moving towards a goal. And especially with Rahu and Uranus that are also here in the sign of Aries, there's a lot of abrupt beginnings, things that are starting all of a sudden. And so for some of you, you are getting some sort of intuition, some sort of guidance as to what to start in your next chapter. This also can be a time where you are suddenly coming upon new beginnings, where you can find yourself receiving new opportunities that are unexpected. And so this is definitely a huge moment with this full moon. Even though full moons are a time of completion, this completion is giving way to a new beginning, to something that is starting, that is beginning as we step into this full moon in Chitra. Once again, this Rahu is going to pull us towards the sun, towards our path, our calling. And so this can definitely be a time where you are being detached or disconnected from something that is not aligned with your true path and calling in life. This moon Ketu can separate you from your attachments and connections that are no longer serving you, that are not giving you the proper opportunities to move towards your true goals in life. We have this Saturn that is also going to aspect over to the moon. And so this is especially a time where there is great work and discipline that is required in order to achieve the results that you want. Again, this can be a big time with Saturn here in Capricorn, giving you the clarity, especially in Dhanishta, giving you the clarity and insight as to how to wrap things up and bring them to completion. Dhanishta being another Mars-ruled nakshatra, but it is the height of Mars. It is the mastery of this Martian energy, of using this in a strategic way, of taking steps in divine timing. And so this especially is signaling the right time for you to wrap up your projects, to wrap up what you have been working towards, and to start taking the steps to bring this to a completion. This is all about everything falling in divine timing for you. So there is a big indication of destiny, of endings, of completions, closures that are making way to a new beginning at this time. This is definitely the fall of old power. And so there's something big here about relationships and power dynamics and things that are no longer serving you coming to an end, and something big about you stepping into your individuality, your path and calling with this Sun Rahu on the opposite end of this moon. You want to be careful, though, here of selfishness. Once again, this Ketu Libra is going to take us away from relationships and cooperation. This Rahu Aries really making us focus on our individuality and our path as individuals. But this is definitely a time where this is for you to work on yourself, to improve upon yourself, to move towards your goals. But you want to be careful about being selfish or being overly stubborn in your relationships, not cooperating, not working with others. This can definitely be something that can play out, especially with the Sun and Rahu together. We're getting this false ego that is going to come up even stronger as the Sun approaches the end of its transit. So this is a big time to really look at your individual success, what you want to create, what you want to bring to life at this time, and to work towards this. Once again, trusting your intuition, following your your internal guidance is huge with this full moon. Let's go ahead and jump into the horoscope for each of your zodiac signs. And just a disclaimer before we get into this, I am using Vedic astrology, which uses the sidereal zodiac. So if you are not familiar with what your sidereal zodiac signs are, there's a calculator below in the description so that you have the correct information for this horoscope. Also, this horoscope is not going to be according to your sun sign. This will be according to your ascendant or your moon sign. So I recommend always looking from your ascendant or moon sign or both. So starting off here, for those of you with an Aries moon or Aries ascendant, this will be a full moon taking place in your 7th house. And so this is a big moment of you stepping into your power. We have all of this energy going on in your 1st house with this Sun, Uranus, Rahu, where this is a huge new beginning for you on a personal level. You are stepping into a brand new you, into a brand new life. And along with this moon that is here in your 7th house is going to create separations in your connections with others. Those who no longer serve you are falling away. And this is a big time of clarity. This is a big time of truth coming to you about others in your life and how they are actually affecting your state of mind and your energy. This is a time of shedding those attachments that are no longer for you. And this is going to happen naturally for many of you here, as we also have this Saturn that is sitting in your 10th house, getting ready to shift ahead into the 11th house. This is a big time of letting go of old attachments to make room for the new that is coming in, as the Saturn is getting ready to shift ahead into your 11th house. So huge theme for those of you with an Aries moon, Aries ascendant, about making room for the new to come into your life as these old connections and attachments are falling away. For those of you with a Taurus moon or Taurus ascendant, this will be a full moon in your 6th house. This is a very interesting full moon. We have the Sun on the opposite end with Rahu and Uranus back in your 12th house, where there's a lot going on subconsciously at this time. This is a great time to keep a dream journal. This is a great time to keep a journal in general, to meditate, anything where you are going inward and listening in to yourself. This is huge at this time. This moon that is coming into your 6th house, you are cutting ties with some enemies, some rivals, some competition, some frustrations that are no longer for you. And so this is definitely a weight, a load that is coming off of you as far as some old attachments, some old responsibilities, some old connections that you have been carrying on your back. This is coming to an end. So this can definitely be a very difficult time where many of you are learning through these losses, through these endings that are coming through in your life, where the old weight, some of you are still trying to hold on to this, but this is for you to release, to let go. For those of you with a Gemini moon, Gemini ascendant, this will be a full moon in your 5th house. This is an excellent opportunity for you to tap into your creativity, to tap into your knowledge, your skills, and to bring this to life, especially for those of you who already are in tune with your talents and capabilities. This definitely is a very intuitive moment of tapping into any sort of skills and talents that you possess. And this is huge in terms of how you are going to express this to impact others. This definitely becomes a huge time where the focus is on other people and the world, how you are presenting yourself, how you are going to build upon your skills and everything that you can gain from. So this moon here definitely is bringing you into a space where this is time to start to implement your skills and talents and to put this out into the world. For those of you with a Cancer moon, Cancer ascendant, this will be a full moon in your 4th house. Many of you are feeling very much detached from your home. Again, we have this theme once again of moving, of changing residency, of changing things around in your home where there's some sort of dissatisfaction. This also can be a big time where you are going inward to rest, to relax from your responsibilities. This sun definitely is highlighting your 10th house of your responsibilities, your duties out in the world, and this Rahu also expanding upon this. So many of you are feeling the pressures of these responsibilities and duties that you are here to take on, and especially with Saturn in that 7th house. So this full moon definitely is a time of reminding yourself to take care of yourself, to take care of your needs, so that you have the energy to continue with all of these pursuits and responsibilities that you have to take on. For those of you with a Leo moon, Leo ascendant, this will be a full moon in your 3rd house. This is a big opportunity to express yourself, to put your talents and gifts out into the world. We have this Sun, Uranus, Rahu that is on the opposite end in the 9th house. So especially any of you who are doing any kind of public speaking, publishing of books, publishing of your creations, putting it out in this fashion of presenting, teaching, sharing your wisdom with the world. This is a huge moment for this, especially as the sun is your chart ruler. This is putting you yourself out into this position of sharing with others the knowledge that you have acquired. So this moon definitely is putting a huge spotlight on the talents that you have been working towards, that you've been developing, and finalizing this, bringing this to a completion and putting it out for others who need to hear this. For those of you with a Virgo moon, Virgo ascendant, this will be a full moon in your 2nd house. This is a very intense full moon. We have on the opposite end here the Sun, Uranus, and Rahu in your 8th house. And so there's definitely a lot that is changing in your life with this Rahu that has just shifted here into this 8th house. A lot of dramatic changes and ups and downs going on. For many of you, this Rahu is taking you through great personal transformation. And this Sun is highlighting this 8th house, where the focus now is on your personal growth, your development, and a lot that is shifting unexpectedly in your life, putting you on this path of actually becoming your greatest version. And we have this full moon on the opposite end in here, 2nd house, where many of you are retreating. Many of you are going back into the past, reflecting back on different aspects of your life. But this is a big time here of not getting lost in the past, getting lost into any sort of childhood traumas or anything that is plaguing you from the past. You want to be very careful of this and making sure that you're using this to actually grow and develop yourself at this time. For those of you with a Libra moon, Libra ascendant, this will be a big full moon, as this will be happening in your 1st house. And so this definitely is a time of completing, of bringing things to a completion in your life. And so many of you can feel chapters closing, things coming to an end, time running out with this full moon here in this 1st house. This is definitely a time where you are getting on a new path of what you are creating and bringing into existence. This is huge in terms of tapping into any of your skills and talents and putting this out into the world, especially as that moon is controlling your 10th house of your duties, your obligations out in the world. This is a big time to start to make some forward steps in your career at the completion of this full moon energy. We have Rahu, Uranus, and Sun on the opposite end of this in your 7th house, where many of you are being called upon for leadership. You are being given a lot of attention at this time, where others are looking to you for insight. And so a lot of what you have been building and creating, putting together at this time, as far as your artwork, your creations, your projects, all of this is going to have some sort of impact on others. So this is a big time of actually sharing what you have been working, creating, building on your own for some time now. This can be a little bit of a tricky transit. We talked a lot about how K2 in your first house can make you very much wanting to isolate, to retreat, to go inward. It can give a little bit of confusion or a little bit of issues around your identity, trying to find the truth of who you are and what your purpose is with this K2 in here. This is detaching you a little bit from the physical. K2 is taking you on this spiritual quest and journey of actually finding yourself at a deeper level. And so this could feel very much like a huge tension or pressure with all of these people coming in, looking to you, looking for your insight, for your guidance, for your nurturing, and many of you wanting to retreat. And so this is definitely a time to find that balance of taking care of your own needs, your individual needs, but also making sure that you are having this impact on others who are looking to you for support. For those of you with a Scorpio moon, Scorpio ascendant, this will be a full moon back in your 12th house. And so this definitely is a time of full completions. This moon in itself is a big time of bringing things to an ending, a completion. But with this falling back in your 12th house, this is especially emphasized, where many of you are now at a space where it is time to let go. It is time to move forward, to close the chapter here, and to put this out into the world to make an impact, especially as the moon is controlling over your 9th house here, where this is all about any sort of teaching, guiding, sharing of your wisdom, sharing of your projects, putting this out for the good of humanity. You want to be careful of any sort of outdated routines or habits that are no longer serving you, especially with this Sun, Uranus, Rahu. This is putting a huge emphasis on your health, on your digestion, on how you are taking care of yourself in your daily life with all of your habits. And this moon back in this 12th house can make you very much wanting to escape, wanting to indulge, but you are being given these heavy responsibilities and things to look at in your life practically, with this Sun that is putting a spotlight in this 6th house, and this whole Rahu transit that is also putting a huge focus in this 6th house as well. So there's a lot here in terms of overcoming obstacles, difficulties, dealing with your health, dealing with your routine, any sort of habits in your life. Paying close attention to this with this moon K2 back in your 12th house. For those of you with a Sagittarius moon or Sagittarius ascendant, this will be a full moon taking place in your 11th house. And so this definitely can be a time of detachments from your friends. This could be a time of retreating inward, especially as the moon is controlling that 8th house, where many of you are seeking some privacy. You're seeking some time to yourself for some personal growth and development, to go inward. And so this is an excellent time for this. This K2 transit, of course, in your 11th house can definitely make you very detached from any sort of group situations or from any kind of connections that you're having with others. This Rahu in the 5th house pulling you towards your individual creations through your individual knowledge and talents. And so this is definitely a little bit of a tricky transit here. There can be some sort of loss of friends that is happening. There could be a change in friends where you are actually developing your friend circle more, where old people are moving out, people who are no longer for you, and you are bringing in new people who are more aligned with your journey on a spiritual level. We have the Sun, Uranus, Rahu on the opposition in your 5th house, where this is a huge time, once again, to focus on any sort of projects, on your schooling, anything where you are trying to develop yourself, where you're trying to grow, where you're trying to put yourself out into the world to market your skills and talents. We have this huge influence here. And so this moon definitely is clearing out old ideas, old possibilities, old future scenarios, and putting a huge focus on what you can put out into the world. And so this is a big time to change your way of thinking into something that is more positive, into an area where you are strongly believing in yourself and being willing to express what you have to the world. Especially as the sun is ruling over your 9th house, this becomes a huge time of actually publishing, teaching, sharing with others. For those of you with a Capricorn moon, Capricorn ascendant, this will be a full moon taking place in your 10th house. And so huge spotlight that is being put on your home life and some sort of big ending or change that is happening here in your career. This is definitely a very interesting transit. This whole transit of Rahu going through your 4th is making you a bit restless, wanting to change your location, wanting to move somewhere different. But this K2 is urging you to stay put and to continue to persevere through this time. This is definitely a time where you don't want to make any sort of hasty decisions as far as your home, your location, your living situation. You want to keep this steady pace and to continue to build your way up. This moon here definitely is asking you to take a look at your career. This K2 in a way is making many of you unbothered with your career, unfulfilled in your career, and even a little bit detached from actually wanting to commit to this career area. So once again, you want to continue to keep moving forward, to keep moving towards your goals and working towards this career area. This moon here is showing you that something that you have been working on is coming to a completion. Even though many of you may be frustrated, you may be wanting to get ready here to give up or detach from this area. It's asking you to continue moving in this direction. The moon and the sun, of course, are very tricky planets for those of you with a Capricorn moon, Capricorn sun, as we have the moon that is controlling your 7th house and the sun controlling that 8th house. They are planets that are causing a great deal of problem for those of you. So this is a big time to have a boost in your self-esteem, to have more faith in yourself. This sun in the 8th house definitely is very tricky in terms of your self-esteem, your confidence, your ability to keep going, where there can be a little bit of a pessimism. So this is asking you to be more confident in yourself and to continue to push towards your goals. For those of you with an Aquarius moon, Aquarius ascendant, this will be a full moon taking place in your 9th house. And so this is definitely a time to take a look at any sort of studies that you have been working towards. You can see some sort of completion that is very close here with this full moon in the 9th house. Many of you who have been working, who have been studying, who have been moving in this direction, you're going to start to see some results here. And this is a big time to focus in this area, as K2 is going to make you want to detach from your studies. This K2 in the 9th house can make you very uninterested in this area. So you want to keep going. This full moon indicating a huge moment of completion here. This moon in this 9th house also can be a huge indication that you need to pay attention to any sort of gurus or teachers that you're coming across, making sure that these people are legitimate and that they're not just putting on a show on the surface here, making sure that you're checking all of your references, checking the legitimacy of any sort of gurus or teachers that you are looking for. The sun, Uranus, Rahu is on the opposite end in your 3rd house, where this is giving you a ton of willpower and courage to go about things on your own. So many of you experiencing a lot of confidence as the sun shifts here into the sign of Aries. Rahu is increasing this, so you want to be careful about your ego, about getting into debates and heated discussions with others, any sort of power dynamics with this sun, Rahu happening in this 3rd house. You definitely could get into some difficulties and complications with others with all of this Uranus Rahu. Very unexpected situations where you could run into difficulties with others. So you want to pay attention to how you're asserting yourself, how you're speaking and communicating, coming across to others. For those of you with a Pisces moon or Pisces ascendant, this will be a full moon taking place in your 8th house. Very, very intense full moon here. And this 8th house already is a house of sudden ups and downs and moments of crisis. This moon also is in this conjunction with Ketu, where there can be a lot of turbulence in your life, a lot that is suddenly shifting and changing dramatically for many of you. This moon here is showing you that this is a big time to let go, to close out an old chapter, especially in regards of romance, of anything that you are indulging in, any sort of unhealthy habits, anything that is distracting you, that is an enjoyment that's taking you away from your responsibilities. All of this is showing you that this is a huge time to close in this area and to build up some more healthy habits that are for your betterment. This is a big moment of needing to transform your life. And we have the Sun, Uranus, Rahu on the opposite end in your 2nd house. So you especially, again, want to be cautious of anything that you're indulging in, especially when it comes to your digestion, your health, to anything that is valuable to you as an individual. This Sun, Uranus, Rahu also could make you a bit of a spendthrift. So this could also be a huge time of needing to close out some old habits in terms of how you're dealing with your finances and spending. This Sun, Uranus, Rahu definitely is going to put a huge focus on needing to look at your past, needing to set a solid foundation for you in terms of your finances, your resources, everything for you, and a lot that is shifting and changing as far as the old ways that you were able to succeed. This is starting to go away, where you're going to have to find a new way to build this security and foundation in your life.